I've seen a lot of shooting out here, right out here in front of the house. A lot of drug activity right out here in front of the house, day and night. Not just only night, but day and night, you know. They walk up and down the street selling this stuff like they got a license for it, you know. My name is James Small. I've been living here at the same address for 14 years. So I've been around a little bit, and I know pretty much about the neighborhood, the peoples, and everybody that comes and go. I mean, a lot of people have came and went, and I'm kind of glad a lot of them did because they was into a lot of drugs on the street at one time. Some of the guys, things that they do out here, they need to be put away for a long time. And some of the things that these guys, you know, out here done, well, maybe they need to get some kind of education program going on for them. They need it, no doubt about that. We all know that.
My name is Noelle Jones. I started the Neighbors of Easton blog about 1.5 years ago because I saw a need for something that would build a sense of community. It seemed like a lot of the neighbors felt pretty isolated and just sort of went from their houses to their cars to their jobs and back and didn't really know their neighbors. And had concerns about crime and blight and other issues, but weren't really engaged in their community. I think they've just seen so many different programs come and go that it's a tall task to convince them that this one's going to be different.
Well, I think some of them are working for those that are going, that want to be there, but there's so many out in the street that don't even know about it. So what do? We have to get out there and we need to tell them about it. We need to get out in the street. We need to say, you know, I saw some kids hanging out and I went up to them. I says, should you be in school? You know, we don't go to them. So a lot of the kids that is hanging out, they may not know about the program. So you ask, are they working? I think if we had enough kids in there, it probably would work. But a lot of kids don't even know the opportunities. They don't even know what's out there for them.
There's a broken community here. If people understand how to access services, if people are able to access those services, they're less likely to go about trying to get those things in a negative way. We have a very big problem in this community with recidivism. When a man comes out of jail, they have no opportunity to get a job because as soon as they mark down that they're a convicted felon, you know, right away they're thrown out of the work pool. They don't have the skills generally that other, and in an economy where it's difficult enough to get a job when you have an education, can you imagine their strife?
Up. I was ready to just, I guess, become a product of the system, and I was fine with that. I was always fine with coming in and meeting new drug dealers and meeting new offenders, and then looking forward to getting out and doing more things with them. I was hopeless.
I was embarrassed to go home. Felt like I was like gum on the ground, just being walked over. I felt like I just wanted to die. I just didn't want to give into life. I didn't want to accept anything. I just wanted to die. I hated myself. Didn't love myself at all. I was afraid to ask for help. I had no motivation to live at all.
What we're trying to do is teach them right living skills so that when they do get out, they don't use drugs or alcohol. It's mainly addiction-based and criminal offender-based, so that they go out with a different outlook, behaviors, thinking, actions.
I've taken everything for granted always. I've seemed to just make it to a certain certain point it sabotaged what I've accomplished, and that's through the years of using alcohol and drugs. But like I said today, the class I was called out of, its topic is respecting life, and I'm just learning to gain a new appreciation for everything I have. I mean, I lost my house, I lost a lot of stuff, but I know if I respect and start appreciating everything, substance free, I'm thinking much more clearer, and with that, I can really appreciate everything I have. I wish I could bottle everything up now and just take it with me. I just have to, use the tools that I've learned here.
We have the history of taking inmates and locking them up and not really working with them. They do their time and then they go out and actually they become better criminals than they were before because they're locked in a cell with other inmates. Programming helps get them out of their cell and talking to people who are not in jail that can give them guidance on how not to get put back in here. Instead of learning how to be a better criminal, learn how to be a better individual.
The program is like a parent. When you're doing something wrong, it has to be told, it has to be said that you're doing wrong, and this is the correct way of doing it. So a program is like parenting. Just relearning how to live life. Although I'm 40 years old, I'm starting to learn how to live life at this age right now. So yeah, we need that. The jails that don't have it, they must want people to come back to jail.
We're trying to get outside the jail into community-based programming, and we have a lot of fighting because people in the community aren't understanding or they're not educated on why programs are needed in prison, nor do they think their tax dollars should be utilized for programming in prison. They think, just do your time and then get out. They aren't educated on how programming can change all that and actually save money in the long run. Save our taxpayers. If they don't come back in, you're saving money because they're out there doing the right thing. So you get that mix of people who still believe the old way, which, lock them up, throw away the key, and then you have other people who believe in rehabilitating, because we're Department of Corrections, we're trying to correct their behavior.
We need a more comprehensive strategy that takes into account the kind of childhoods some of these people have had and the kind of education they have or haven't had, and looks at it holistically, comprehensively.
And when we talk about a comprehensive plan, we're not using that term loosely or even as a broad brush. We're saying, look, if you want to deal with open-air drug markets, then your code enforcement department has to be at the table. You want to deal with gangs, then your economic development department has to be at the table. You have to have all these entities pulling together to figure out and create a plan to reduce these crimes, enter into restorative practices, so that in 5 to 7 years we're not having the same conversation. And I'll tell you what, here's something, and here's a real good indicator of that. 4 years ago, we were talking about gangs. 2.5 years ago, we were presenting to the mayor and to city council the need for a comprehensive strategic plan. And even today, as we sit here, we're having the same conversations.
The government should really step in because they're supposed to be representing us. And how can we represent Easton if everybody's, going to jail and then coming out and not being an asset to society? And so I also think it's the responsibility of the people of Easton, because all right, if we see that our government is not going to do anything, then we need to step up and do it ourselves.
What we've learned is simply this, is that it doesn't work. And there has to be a catalyst for change. We have to go from punitive and putting people in prison and applauding that we're arresting them, and we really have to find ways to restore them to the community. We've got to turn the addict, we've got to heal the addict And the majority of people in this country want restorative practices. They want the rehabilitation. They want drug courts. They want to see people restored. They want to see people be tax-paying citizens. How does that translate in Easton? That's a great question.
If people would pay more attention and to listen more to the people of Easton and to really, focus on the real issues, then we'd be able to help it out. But if nobody's willing to actually do it, then it's not going to get done. So we actually need people who are really ready to get something started and get the ball rolling, so then we can get people involved. Because you can't start something if nobody's willing to work on it.
First, let us know these things, that our lives matter, because we're born with potential, that we're not victims of circumstance, that to be free, we must master our own habits, that we can be part of something greater than ourselves, and thereby find the greatest part of ourselves. Then let us do these things. Humble ourselves to learning, learn to be learners, out of respect for our own potential, and out of respect for those who teach us. Take courage against our fears and be steady in our efforts. Help each other draw strength from each other. For the one who falls low can bring us all down unless we help him rise. The one who rises high can take us all higher. We strive together to build a future that's better than our past.